In this video, let's talk about creating platform businesses. You might ask me, what the heck is a platform business? Well, actually, it's an awesome, very common type of startup. And it's basically where you bring two different groups together. I'll give you an example. Uber, drivers and riders. Udemy, teachers and students. Airbnb, people who are traveling and people who have places to stay. Delivery businesses, people who order food, people who deliver food, etc., etc., etc. Tutoring businesses, freelancing businesses. There's almost no shortage of them, and they are amazing. Investors also love them because they typically represent, you're kind of redefining a gigantic market. And so they're usually multi-million or billion-dollar opportunities. It's just a matter of uncovering them, and it's a very technically intensive business. Of course, you need transactions, and you need databases, and you need scalability and all that stuff. So it's very good for people with technical backgrounds. So it fits your background as a founder. Now, usually the marketing is twice as hard. That's the problem with these businesses, right? For example, let's say Uber. You have drivers, but let's say you didn't have riders. This business wouldn't work. If you have riders, but no drivers, this business wouldn't work. So very often there's a chicken and an egg problem where you spend time getting one side of the business on the platform, but they're frustrated, and because the other part of the equation is not there, and they quit. So by the time you get the other part of the equation, the first part of the equation quit, and you're back to sort of playing catch up all over the place, and it's a mess, and it just doesn't work. But it doesn't have to be like that, because it's not really like that. Because what you do is you generally, not in every case, but in most cases, you handpick and recruit very high quality providers. So you don't go gigantically big. For example, Udemy, in the beginning, they only handpicked a few instructors who were very good. And then what they did is, once they were able to sell the courses by the instructors, they started making case studies and success studies of how well those initial instructors did. And then guess what? So many other instructors started working on Udemy because they were thinking, oh my God, this is a good financial opportunity. And so it was then, from then on, easy to recruit instructors. And then once you started having the instructors who built up great services and courses, then guess what? It started to become easier to get clients for those instructors, right? The students. And also at some point, the instructors started promoting the Udemy platform itself, and just it happens like that with Airbnb, delivery places, freelancing places. That's just usually how it is. It's a different process of getting it off the ground versus once it's on cruise control. It's a little, those things become a little easier. In the beginning, what happens is, to get your initial customers, like you see the service with providers, and you go bonkers doing search engine optimization, social media marketing, etc., anything you can to get enough buyers for those initial providers to get the initial activity going. Sometimes, in some cases, you can even focus on just limited geographical area, so not doing this in the whole world, but just starting in one city and proving the point, depending on what the business is. If it's Uber, they went city by city. If it's something else, and people don't have to be in the same place, then you don't have to go city by city. But it's just sometimes easier. Like dating sites, obviously they have to be in the same place. But if it's freelancers, they can be anywhere, and it's more skills based. So fewer skills, but populate that skill. And once you and this is kind of a business that, unlike many other kinds of businesses, precisely because you're literally turning a whole industry on its head, revolutionizing an industry, you're targeting a big market, like I mentioned earlier. And so what happens is, investors love gigantic opportunities. And so this kind of business, once you show a little traction, you can raise money, and the raising money allows you to spend more money hiring people, running ads, growing your business, expanding to different verticals, and really go big. And that's where this becomes a multi-billion dollar opportunity. Platform businesses, amazing businesses, very good for people with technical backgrounds. In your case, the one thing is, what's the next platform business? That's the next question. And that answer is, well, what's the next thing happening? For example, Udemy saw that, hey, education needs to be democratized. Uber saw, okay, there's an injustice in how, like the cab companies are dominating the markets. They wanted to do something about it. What's the next thing? Keep an eye out. What is the next thing? Like one example I like to give, and I'm not saying you should do it, but just an example. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is the greatest and coolest new thing. How do you connect? Who's are the buyers? Of course, there's buyers and sellers, and of course, there's already platforms for it. But is there anything else that you can get people to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency that maybe isn't currently done? I'm not saying this is a great example, but something like that, because it's a new space, it's a hot space, and because it's new and hot, the competitors aren't as established, and you have an opportunity. And if it's maybe it's not Bitcoin, but what's next for next year, for the year after that? That's really how you jump on new opportunities that are amazing, is by not competing with yesterday's business models, okay, but competing on tomorrow's business models. You have to have the nose for it. And that's essentially how you do really well with the platform businesses.